Am I the jerk for destroying a woman in a baby store because I was a grumpy pregnant lady? For context, this happened a few years ago when I was pregnant with my twins, but it still haunts me. Before conceiving, I was told that I had fibroids and a tilted uterus, so the chances of me conceiving were slim to none. As one could imagine, this was devastating news as I was recently engaged and planning to move out of state with my new fiancé. My fiancé always talked about wanting to be a father, and he saw himself with 3 kids. It broke my heart to have to tell him that it might just be the 2 of us. Fast forward a few months, and we were all moved and settled into our new place. It had been a few weeks of chaos, and things were finally calming down when I noticed that someone hadn't visited in quite a while. Aunt Flo. I was usually pretty regular, but I figured with the stress of moving in different climate, maybe my body was just off. I had just lost like 40 pounds, so maybe it was that too. Another 2 weeks go by, and we're preparing for our first Christmas in our new place, and I felt like absolute garbage. I was bloated and irritable. I had zero energy and no appetite. Unusual symptoms of PMS for me, but I prepared the tampons anyway. Flo never came. Having the doctor's words circulating in my mind about never conceiving, I was reluctant to spend money on pregnancy tests. But that's exactly what I did. I bought 5 to be honest. All different brands. The first 2 I took came back with an error code, so I figured they were defective. I chalked it up to me being paranoid and went to bed. The next day, I felt even worse. Nauseous and dizzy. I don't know why, but I took the other 3 tests. I left them on the side of the tub and waited. When I went back into the bathroom, my jaw dropped. All 3 said positive. Just out of curiosity, I peeked in the trash can at the first 2. They both now said positive. Holy crap. For some ridiculous reason, I did not believe I was pregnant. So, at my 8-week ultrasound, I was completely unfazed. I just knew she wasn't going to find anything. She moved the probe around a bit, and then cocked her head to the side like a curious dog. I said I knew it. I told you. There's nothing there, right? She exclaimed, no. There's 2 in there. My fiancé's face went pale, and I started laughing hysterically. Once I found out I was having twins, my belly seemingly doubled in size overnight. At 4 months pregnant, I looked like I was getting ready to pop, and for some reason random people felt entitled to walk up and grab my belly. They would say stuff like, I'll hang in there mama, or you're in the home stretch. Then when I would say I had 4 to 5 more months because I was carrying twins, then the go-to response was, twins. Wow, you're going to have your hands full. At about 34 weeks, I was a planet. For reference, my twins were born in the thick of summer, so not only was I huge, but I was also sweating profusely. Here's where I might have been the jerk. I was standing in line at a baby store when this overzealous woman came running up to me, wanting to feel my belly. She asked if I was a boy or a girl, and I responded with both. I'm having twins. She got really excited and asked if they were identical or fraternal. I gave her a perplexed look. I honestly didn't know if she was serious. Woman, I was just curious because I'm a twin. My brother and I are identical twins. I was super annoyed by this point, so I gave her this deadpan look and sarcastically asked, so which one of you had the sex change? Woman shocked and obviously confused. Excuse me? It's biologically impossible for twins of the opposite sex to have come from the same egg. So, which one of you had the sex change? She started jabbering about how rude I was and left the store crying.